Our truth for today comes from Psalm 54. Behold, God is my helper. The Lord is the sustainer of my soul. Let us pray. Our Father, our God, we thank you that you have been our sustainer. You have been our helper, our comforter, our guardian. What can we say? I will not be afraid. What can man do to me? Because the Lord stood by me and strengthened me. Lord, we see that even in the 430 years of the Egyptian bondage, the 40 years of the Exodus wanderings, and the 70 years of the Babylonian captivity, and each of us in our life here on earth thus far, you have governed and sustained your children each moment of our being. Thank you for your providential care and provision. Lord, govern our thoughts and our action in wisdom and knowledge as we seek to lead, guide, and direct this people. Lord, help us to be light and life to those who we represent. Bless you, O Lord, the God of Israel, our Father, forever and ever. For yours, O Lord, is the greatness and the power and the glory and the victory and the majesty. For all that is in heaven and in earth is yours. Yours is the kingdom, O Lord, and you are exalted as head over all. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Chaplain, thank you, sir. All right, we're in the roll call. All members record your presence. We're in the roll call.
Welcome to State House Today. I'm Gavin Jackson along with Maayan Schechter here in the South Carolina State House lobby. It is Thursday, March 26, 2026, Maayan. It is the last day of week 11 here at the State House. So we are moving and grooving right now.
Trucking along. Feels good.
It feels good. Good pace. It's sunny outside. Things are happening. It's springtime. We're happy. Got the boot off the foot. Very big time. Maayan, let's do a little recap of what happened yesterday and what we reported in the State House Gavel today on sectv.org/thegavel. You were in the Senate yesterday. There was big discussion and big debate over that bathroom bill that we were talking about yesterday. That again, that the Senate approved, that came over from the House, and that deals with folks having to use bathrooms that correspond to their biological sex assigned at birth in every K through 12 school, as well as college and universities, as well as their facilities like the stadiums that they have sporting events at as well. So big discussion on that. There was a lot of debate over in the House, but I was kind of surprised to see that it just took a day over here in the Senate. Walk us through what happened. There are some more details on that bill and if any amendments got tacked onto it.
Right. So this is a bill that essentially codifies state law that was attached as a budget measure, but it expands the state law. So the budget measure mostly dealt with K through 12 public schools. This now includes colleges and universities, and as you mentioned, it requires bathroom use based on the biological sex at birth. Now, when it came over from the House, it included an amendment that essentially said every single campus building, public school and college and university, would need to have at least a single user restroom. That way, someone, again, this is a bill predominantly targeted toward the transgender community, that someone could use a single use instead of going into the men's room or the women's room. That was causing a lot of headache for colleges and universities. We didn't know the full impact of how much that would cost. A fiscal impact study also didn't really show that information either. And so as part of I was told don't call it a compromise over in the Senate, but it did appear to appease a lot of Democrats who were somewhat on the fence with the legislation by further expanding the definition of accommodation. So essentially, senators said it was never the intention to require every single building to have a single-use restroom. Again, very costly. We're talking plumbing, we're talking electricity, toilets, infrastructure, all of that, right? Changing tables. This essentially kind of expands it to say you can have a single use, you could have a porta potty perhaps. You could also have a room that you can accommodate someone in, or if a locker room is not in use, you can use that. So It further expands it. It passed 35-2. Two Democrats did oppose it. That was Senators Ed Sutton and Dion Tedder of Charleston County. But the bill will go now back over to the House. The House, of course, can always amend it back. They can concur with what the Senate did and send it to the governor, or they can try to force it right into a conference committee. I would expect the House would largely be all right with this legislation and the way that they did it, especially given the fact that this amendment, further expanding the definition of accommodations, was proposed by Republican Senators Richard Cash and Wes Clymer.
So that's where you're at on that. So again, was it a long debate? It seemed like they just kind of got through things pretty quickly in a sense.
I would say that it was
Kind
a
of what we
little bit
anticipated,
predicted.
yeah.
Yes, I did think that it was going to be in a day. I mean, look, the Republicans have the votes. They have more seats in that chamber, of course. Democrats, as we kind of expected, were going to try to slow it down. There were some Democratic-led amendments, including trying to remove colleges and universities entirely from it. Again, a lot of concern about the cost and also just what would go into implementing this kind of requirement. Ultimately, the Democrats, their amendments did not go through.
And again, kind of a not quite a wild Wednesday, a little bit of a wonky Wednesday, but yesterday we're talking about, which is kind of interesting because the House was kind of out pretty quickly. They worked through some of their bills. We'll talk about that in a moment. And the Senate, like you said, was a little bit later in the day, but still not too late, which is kind of interesting since we have 6 Wednesdays left in the session.
Oh, wow.
I looked at the calendar, and that includes that furlough week and that first week of April. And so it's going to be a little tricky because, again, those are the busy work days. You've seen them. We were here at midnight that other Wednesday for that THC bill over in the Senate. So it's going to be interesting to see when you start looking at the calendar, what can be done in that time and what's going to be prioritized at that point.
Right, and I should also mention, we did wait a little bit more into right versus left politics. Again, I don't know if we would call this a compromise yesterday, but the Senate, by voice vote, did also approve 2 road renaming resolutions, one that has already passed the House, and that's to name the future Interstate 73, a project that does not exist, but that a lot of Republicans, particularly in the Grand Strand, would like to see happen.
Could happen now.
Right. They'd like to see it named after President Donald Trump. And so this concurrent resolution, it does not require the governor to weigh in. It's kind of the sense of the General Assembly, right? And so this basically asks the State Department of Transportation, hey, please rename this. Hard to see the DOT Commission not going along with this. Again, we're talking though about an interstate that does not quite exist yet. Now, the Senate also, by voice vote, approved a resolution renaming a portion of I-77 in Richland County after former President Barack Obama.
Bipartisan infrastructure right
That's
here.
That's right. Now, that highway does exist, obviously. The House, of course, will still have to approve it.
Sure.
We'll see if that happens, but again, does not require the governor to weigh.
Give a penny, take a penny, right?
Right.
Yeah, so, and again, Lord knows we love a road naming bill around here.
We do. We certainly do. Yeah.
But it's interesting to see that. Also in the Senate, we did see them ratify, I should say, the income tax reduction bill. And we saw House Speaker Mo Smith don his purple robe, walk over to the Senate chamber, meet up there with Senate President Thomas Alexander, and get their signings done, and ratify some bills that have been in the pipeline.
Right. I mean, of course, ratification generally will happen where we're actually standing in between the ceremonial offices of both the House Speaker and the Senate President. Typically, we don't actually see the ratification process happen. The income tax legislation has become such a political moment for both chambers. Everybody's been pushing it. Everybody's been celebrating it. So yes, we really got to see a very large ceremonial effort to sign this legislation. As you mentioned, not only is this bill, the income tax bill, now on the governor's desk, he's also got the boat tax cut bill. There's some local legislation also. And again, nothing that's really sticking out as potentially a veto.
And it's also interesting too, Maya, when we talk about taxes now, because we were both listening to the Revenue and Fiscal Affairs meeting with the Board of Economic Advisors, where they talk about revenue estimates for the general fund. Again, this is all the money that is being used to budget with. Of course, the House already passed their $15.4 billion budget, but that information is now updated. We're going to see another update in May, but what did you hear from Frank Rainwater, who's the director over there, and what is it going to mean for these Senate budget writers who are in the process of writing their budget at the same time talking about all these tax cuts? They're all going to be funded at this point.
Right.
TBD.
So Frank Rainwater, who has been an institution in South Carolina for a very long time, has been very, very conservative in his revenue estimates. And honestly, smartly so. You know, we saw back in February before the House passed their budget that he was only really estimating about $90 million above. Now that's almost cut in half to nearly $43 million.
Okay, getting tight.
So
Yeah.
very, very tight. So what does that mean? That means that really, I mean, the Senate kind of, I think the Senate really knew, right, that estimates were not going to change. In talking to staff and talking to senators, they were all sort of behaving as if nothing, they knew nothing was going to change. You know, Frank Rainwater has been saying this now, I think for years, right? Especially since COVID, that South Carolina is going to plateau. We're not going to see the influx of billions and billions of dollars from the federal government like we saw right after COVID.
Yeah.
And also, you know, again, the country is dealing with a lot of things going on. There's a war in Iran right now. We're seeing issues with gas prices. Also, I would add that, you know, a lot of people haven't filed their taxes yet, and then there's obviously the conversation about conformity. So again, what does this mean for the Senate? The Senate is going to start writing their budget within the next couple of weeks. They've been going through budget request hearings. They're going to pass the budget on the floor later in April. It means that they're going to have to be really conservative as they look through, you know, how to fund the tax cuts, how to fund other priorities, right? So we're going to see potentially some major differences. And we've talked about this before. It also raises the question about earmarks. Both budget chairs have stressed that they want to do earmarks this year in a much more conservative way. So maybe this does help them, and also probably helps them tell some of their colleagues no this year. And of course, you know, when you have more money, you can have a little bit more problems.
But I
This
guess with
definitely
those
keeps
earmarks
tighter.
too, they can be one-time dollars too, which is more of an
Always.
influx of versus that recurring money when we're talking about tax cuts, like
Right.
we're seeing
Always
being
one
proposed.
time. Right. One-time money. And again, I mean, usually those amounts can be conservative. We do see lawmakers who can get some, you know, pretty big spikes depending on perhaps sometimes what level of leadership they might have or if they're leaving.
But some of that one-time money is also going to be designated for these bigger projects that we're seeing across the state when we're talking about, you know,
Right.
putting money towards MUSC's cancer hospital and other things like that. You might be
Roads.
shifting that roads, I mean,
Right.
bridges and additional money for bridges. I mean, all that stuff really comes into play in terms of prioritizing that versus maybe some of these smaller projects and these earmarks that you're talking about.
Right. It's going to be an interesting. I mean, again, the budget is. You know, consider the budget to be the most important. It is the most important piece of legislation. It's your taxpayer dollars. It's all of our taxpayer dollars, and so watching it closely is going to be, I think, key this year.
And to jump outside of the State House right now, obviously the House is in, it's 10 o'clock, it's past 10 o'clock, and the Senate's coming in at 11. I just want to touch on the campaign trail briefly because while Mayan was here covering a lot of the stuff and holding it down for us, I was on the campaign trail in a sense. We did see upstate businessman Billy Weber's, the 68-year-old guy, Democrat, jump in the Democratic race for governor. He made an announcement over at Bojangles, right not too far away, which was convenient, really speaking to his working class roots that helped him grow his entire business into a $1 million industry as a payday loan company that he sold back in 2010. But he also has roots working in the federal government. He was former Governor Dick Riley's chief of staff when Dick Riley was over at the U.S. Department of Education. He's also done logistics and stuff, really operations for the Clinton White House as well. So he's been around. He has his roots here in South Carolina. He becomes the third Democrat to jump in this race, as well as I thought Representative Jermaine Johnson was behind me still, but Representative Jermaine Johnson, who's a Richland County Democrat who announced this week, and also Mullins McLeod, who's a Charleston lawyer. Those are the three we've seen right now jump in the race for the Democrats and make it official with their filing for the past couple of days. Also, when we're talking about the governor's race, we did see State Senator Josh Kimbrell, who's a Republican from Spartanburg, make it official and file the other day, becoming one of the Republicans in that race as well. We have about 6 Republicans in this race when we have Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evette filing this afternoon too. So a little bit more wide open on the Republican side, a little bit interesting dynamic on the Democratic side. And of course, a lot of people are talking about different things that are happening here in the State House. We hear a lot of folks talking about cutting taxes. We hear folks talking about fixing the roads. We hear a lot about corruption and interesting deals going on in the State House, though they're few and far between on the details. And I did hear from Billy Webster yesterday talking about wanting to make cuts to the budget across the board. He's talking about 15% cuts. He says there's a lot of fat that could be trimmed. There needs to be more analysis on what's going on in some of these institutions, some of these agencies, that he thinks there's been a lot of sweetheart deal making going on over the years. And so he's really talking like a Republican. I'm hearing more of that from the Republicans. He's trying to walk that line as a moderate Democrat. So it'll be interesting to see how that all shakes out on the campaign trail. We'll be talking to all these folks too. And again, we'll have some debates coming up too, but still TBD when it comes to the Republican debates. So far, only Ralph Norman, the congressman from the 5th District, and Alan Wilson, the state attorney general, have confirmed to participate in the SCGOP debates that kick off next week on April 1st. We will see what more to come from that, because also we've heard from Nancy Mace, who's the 1st Congressional District Congresswoman, complaining about these debates. There's also been other concerns in terms of having to have a certain threshold to be a part of this debate, in terms of Ron Reddy, who's self-funding. He won't be able to make the criteria to jump on the debate stage. And then there's also concerns about having to pay a certain level of money to the party in order to have a certain number of tickets for the audience to be in that debate, to bring your folks to the debate. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all plays out, Mayan. It's I don't know how to describe it other than interesting at this point.
Right. It's always fun when you have statewide races that correspond also weave into state house races as well. So it's a very busy election season.
Yeah.
And again, on Monday, we'll have a bet better, obviously, of an idea of who is running for what seat. But I think especially now with the lieutenant governor filing her candidacy, at least as far as the governor's race, I think we're really seeing it round out end of this week.
Yeah. And then, of course, like you were talking about, the state house members, all 124 seats are up for election this year. And we'll see afternoon on Monday who's running for what and who's not running. That'll be also interesting. We already know a couple folks that aren't running for re-election, but we'll have a better idea on Monday. And then, of course, we'll put it all on the gavel. scetv.org/the gavel. We'll be following the campaign trail leading up to the June 9th primaries. We might have some debates here at ETV as well, just a little tease, don't worry. We're holding out hope as well. We have different thresholds and qualifications for our debates than what the party does have. So TBD on that, but again, that first debate will be on April 1st at a Newberry on Gray Media Stations in partnership with the SCGOP. But of course, we'll bring you highlights and details of that in the South Carolina Lead podcast that I host on Tuesdays and Saturdays, as well as This Week in South Carolina, which, speaking of, on Friday night, 7:30 on ETV, we will have our first of 2 episodes looking at energy and growth and demand in our state. I talked with the top 3 of the regulated utilities in the state. We're talking about Duke Energy, Dominion, and Santee Cooper. I talked with all their CEOs and presidents about what's going on in our state, especially when we're talking about nuclear and data centers, and of course our record-breaking growth here in the state. So that's going to air 7:30 ETV on Friday night. So a lot going on, Mayan. I'm kind of done talking. I think we're going to jump over to the House now. Anything that we should be looking forward to today at this point?
Well, I think today, given it's Thursday, it's going to be a pretty quick
light day.
But I will mention that yesterday, among some of the legislation that the House passed, they did override the governor's veto on the name, image, and likeness revenue sharing bill that we expected. Now it's over in the Senate, where the votes are a little bit trickier, because as we mentioned, to override a veto, you need 2/3 of the members who are there voting present to be physically present and voting to override the veto. But we do not expect them to override that veto potentially until next week.
Okay.
So we may not see action again. That could totally change. Also, the House was expected to debate insurance legislation yesterday. They kind of punted that to next week and instead fast track some medical malpractice, tort reform kind of related legislation. So we did see that as well. But I would expect a pretty mild Thursday in both chambers.
All right, we're wrapping up week 11 here at the South Carolina State House with legislative session as we march toward May 14th sine die. We're going to send it over to the House right now. And of course, like we said, the Senate will be coming in at 11. I'm Gavin Jackson with Mayan Schechter here in the lobby. Have a great Thursday.
Carolina members championed critical social issues, including health reform, literacy, highway safety, and environmental conservation. The Federation played a key role in establishing institutions such as the Boys and Girls Industrial Schools and the Will Lou Gray Opportunity School. During both World Wars and the Great Depression, club women provided aid to soldiers, supported relief programs, and worked to improve public welfare policies. There was a future formation of the Women's Club, the Junior Division, in 1955. They support children and educational issues. Now in the 21st century, GFWC continues to make an impact through programs supporting Operation Smiles. But most of all, I asked them, give me 3 words that define this organization the best. And what they told me was community service, fellowship, and sisterhood. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please help me recognize these distinguished women who have supported South Carolina for over 100 years in various areas of our state.
The General Federation of Women's Club of South Carolina, thank you for what you've done for our state and continue to do. Hope you enjoy your visit up here. All right, members, while we're waiting on the next one, we got Doctor of the Day. Doctor, if you'll step forward, I'm going to introduce him because he happens to be my next door neighbor, Dr. Kent Cunningham, who's a gastroenterologist in Sumter County. Great doctor, does a lot for our community and our state in promoting colorectal prevention. And so welcome to the State House, Dr. Cunningham, and thank you for your service. Sergeant. All right, Mr. Moss is recognized for a special introduction. Mr. Moss.
Thank you, Speaker. In the balcony, we have Representative Travis Moore, and we have two teams up top. Broome High School Centurions, we have the boys and the girls. We first going to recognize the girls team. In Spartanburg in 29 and District 33, we know the difference between a girl and a boy, and we got both of them here today. The varsity, Armani Brannon, Keely Brown, Riley Carson, Zoe Cooksby, Mimi Foster, Lanisha Giss, Maggie Humphreys, Lisa Lyles, Layla McKellar, Cheyenne Mitchell, Zara Nash, Madison Watson, Kaylee Wirtz, Mahaley Williams, Courtney Walford. Part of the JV team was Riley Aiken, Sarah Bentley, Hannah Cooksey, Brianna Daniel, Harlan Dawkins, Natia Irwin, Michaela Evans, Amber Ivy, and Majoy Powell Anderson, Kaylin Ross, and Peyton Varner. We got head coach Dr. Chad Cooksey, assistant coach Rebecca Burris, administration Hal McInnes, the athletic director, the principal Josh Fowler, and the superintendent Dr. Julie Fowler. This is the Broome girls strength team, and they won the state championship this past year. And we got them in the balcony recognizing them, and we appreciate your hard work, your dedication, and the Lady Centurions for your state championship as a team, overall winners in the Class 3A state championship. If you'd give them a round of applause.
Congratulations, Broome High School Female Strength Team, state champions. We're proud of you. Hope you enjoy your visit up here.
All right, with no further ado, we have the Broome High School Boys Strength Team, 2026 3A state champions. If they would stand up. They just won this past weekend. So they are fresh off the mat of workouts. I hope y'all recovered, boys. Y'all looking good up there. The boys are varsity, Joseph Watkins, 160-pound state champion. Asher Littlejohn, 180-pound state champion. Braden Sampson, Levi Bishop, Chimer Hayes. JV on the team was Isaiah Young, 205-pound class All-State, and we got the same head coach, Dr. Chad Cooksey, assistant coach Spencer Dewberry, AD is Hal McInnes, and principal Josh Fowler, and superintendent Dr. Julie Fowler. And thank y'all for recognizing that the hard work pays off. And just continue working hard. And like Coach Hayes just said, you'll remember this day and you'll never forget it, the girls and the boys. And thank you, Coach, for all you do. The parents that travel with them, that take them to and fro. And we're just proud to recognize the Broome Centurions here today, the girls and the boys state championship.
Broome High School male strength team, congratulations. We're proud of you. I hope you enjoy your visit. And the parents and coaches, thank you for what you do for bringing them up here, and I know y'all are proud too. Congratulations, Coach. All right, Mr. Jermaine Johnson is recognized for a special. Mr. Mitchell, do you want to come and make an announcement real quick while we're waiting on the gallery clear? Mr. Mitchell is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise today to inform everybody of an upcoming event. You know, as I guess this is my 4th year in the chamber, and I've grown to have some close friends. And every day, you know, even though I think I know them better and better, I learn something new occasionally. And yesterday, I learned something that, you know, it's been a big week for my friend Gary Brewer. Gary Brewer, you know, has been pushing the boat tax for 2 years, and he got his big win this week. But what I didn't know is Gary has been accomplishing things his entire life. Blake, if you'll put the picture up for us. We've got Mr. 1987, Little Mr. Low Country, Gary Brewer. He also used to model for Buster Brand when he was a child. But tomorrow is his big day, his 46th birthday. So Gary, even though you're getting gray and growing old, you're still #1 in our hearts, buddy. Happy birthday. You can also thank your lovely bride, Kelsey, for that picture.
Happy birthday, Gary. You sure do look a lot older than your age, so congratulations. All right, Mr. Jermaine Johnson is recognized for a special introduction. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I'm here today to recognize a good friend of mine, John Lakin. And if you don't know who John Lakin is, he is a gospel giant in the state of South Carolina. He's been recognized all over this country for his works in the gospel music in the industry with lots of awards and recognitions all around this nation. And he comes from the the big town of Hopkins, South Carolina, the home of Asia Wilson and every other great person we have come out of Lower Richmond that is doing phenomenal things in this country. Y'all, I want to give a special shout out to his mother, Dr. Sally Lakin, who is here as well to support him in everything that he's doing. Y'all, this is what the best of South Carolina looks like. An individual who has been a worship leader most of his life, has been in charge of lots of churches, and he performs. You may see him on TV Sunday mornings for John Lakin and Friends. And he has coined the phrase, "Big Almighty God has done it again." He is a man of principle, a man of character, and I am proud and honored to call this man my friend. I want y'all to stand up and give this man a round of applause for the amazing thing he's doing for our Lord and Savior. John Lakin, everybody.
John Lakin, congratulations. Thank you for making South Carolina proud. We appreciate you. All right, Representative Duncan. Mr. Duncan, you ready? Okay. Ms. Erickson. Ms. Erickson, are you ready? All right, Mr. Sanders, I think you're ready. Mr. Sanders. Mr. Sanders is recognized for a special introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. If I could have any Leadership South Carolina alumni that would like to join me up front, please do so. Representative Caskey, that would be you. I would like to ask Leadership South Carolina to please stand, class of 2026. It is my distinct honor to welcome you today to the State House. Leadership South Carolina brings together individuals from across our great state who are committed to strengthening their communities, expanding their perspectives, and preparing to lead with purpose. Your presence here reflects a shared belief that effective leadership is rooted not only in knowledge, but also in service. This chamber is a place where ideas are debated, decisions are made, and the future of South Carolina is shaped. The 2026 class project From Tree to Table celebrates the growth of our nation, the growth of our environment, and the growth of our people. And together we will raise over $50,000 to support food insecurities at the 16 technical college campuses while planting 250 trees across 5 state parks. We're proud to have you with us today as you continue your journey of leadership development, and we hope your time here offers valuable insight into our legislative process. Thank you for your commitment to making South Carolina stronger, and thank you to all 124 members who will purchase a tree for $250 by the end of day today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leadership, South Carolina, congratulations. Appreciate what y'all do for our state. I hope you enjoy your visit up here. All right, Mr. Collins is recognized for a special announcement. Mr. Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, today is the 250th anniversary of the South Carolina House of Representatives. On your desk is a one-page, it's the journal entry from 250 years ago. It doesn't seem like much, but 250 years ago today created the first South Carolina Constitution. Interestingly, it did not create the Senate. The Senate was not created until 2 years later, so happy birthday to you and your forefathers that served in your seats.
Thank you, Mr. Collins. I appreciate it. And probably one of the worst mistakes our founding fathers made was to create a Senate. All right. Mr. Kirby, are you ready? Mr. Kirby is recognized for a special introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I tell you, I'm joined here with the #1 most winning coach in the history of the state of South Carolina, Coach Jackie Hayes, Representative Coach Jackie Hayes. We got a special day today. The Williamsburg Academy, guys stand up. Williamsburg Academy football team is here with us today. This team rocked the Skeeza world this year with their defense and their talent. And they're here today, and we're so proud of them. They are the state champion Williamsburg Academy Stallions. Let me tell you a little bit about this team. They started off whipping, curb stomping Thomas Sumter Academy, and then went on to Marion County, beat PD. They went on Clarendon Hall, Representative Petalino, suffered a great loss to the Williamsburg Academy Stallions. These guys went all the way through the year, including going to Florence Christian, their old Representative Jordan, putting a curb stomping on them too. This team went on down. Lee Academy, they beat them. They beat Carolina Academy, my hometown school, but they dominated them actually. But this, I tell you what, it's being that was just a regular season. When they got into the playoffs, the stars started to shine for the Williamsburg Academy Stallions. Their first game was Patrick Henry Academy. Bill Hager, where are you? Yeah, Representative Hager. They came from Estill down there to King Street. Whew. It was tough. It was tough. 40-12 in the first round of the playoffs. And then Thomas Hayward Academy, where is Representative Wes Newton? Is he in here? Wow, Wes, you need to take that team and give them some Oreos or something, because they just put a whooping on them. And then came on down, finally, in the state championship game, they met Colleton Prep, Representative Robbins. Colleton Prep, for the matchup, Let me tell you a little bit about it. Second quarter, our quarterback, Micah Balder, found Caden Morris in the end zone, giving the Stallions a 20-7 lead at the break. In the second half, that defense that was so strong all year stepped up. Lane Patrick and Gamble Wilson both scored defensive touchdowns with a final score of 36-14. The Williamsburg Academy Stallions won their third state championship in school's history. I want to tell you about some of the star standouts we have on this team. The Region Player of the Year, Grant Small. Grant, raise your hand up there. There he is. The Region Defensive Player of the Year, Mike Lard. There he is. Region Lineman of the Year, Marlon Morris. All right. All region players, here we go. Micah Balder, Sammy Tomlinson, Charlie Calder, Connor Morris, Jay Callahan, Gamble Wilson, Caden Morris. Senior All-Stars, Micah Balder, Jay Callahan, Connor Morris. Future All-Stars, Grant Small, Michael Ard, Marlon Morris, Sammy Tomlinson, Charlie Calder, Gamble Wilson, Caden Morris. This team, the Touchdown Assistant Coach of the Year, Ken Callahan. Congratulations, Ken. Guys, y'all please give a wonderful round of applause to the South Carolina State Champion, Williamsburg Academy Stallions. Welcome to the State House, gentlemen.
Congratulations, Williamsburg County, Williamsburg Academy Stallions, state champions. Congratulations, coach, parents who are there. I know you're proud. Congratulations. Hope you enjoy your visit up here. All right, Mr. Jeff Johnson and his sidekick are recognized for a special announcement.
Very good, very good. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think Saturday is going to be a special day for Case Britton. You know, it's not every day that we have a member that turns 50. Happy birthday, Case.
Happy birthday, Case. Oh, there's so much I could say. I'll withhold it. I'll violate decorum up here. All right, Mr. Bannister is recognized for a special introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. As you know, it's South Carolina Hospital Association Week, and the hospital of this week is Prisma Health. We're joined in the balcony by Tim Brookshire, who is the Upstate Market CEO and Greenville Memorial Hospital CEO, and Justin Benfield, CEO of Lawrence County and Hillcrest Hospitals. As y'all know, Prisma, it has about a $9 billion economic impact in the state of South Carolina. Please help me welcome them to the House of Representatives. Thank you, guys.
Welcome to the State House. Thank you for what y'all do for us. All right, Mr. Hickson's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted everybody to hear this. Today, the South Carolina Department of Insurance and Consumer Affairs Services is downstairs in the lobby with a table to be able to answer questions about your insurance or insurance at all. They're also willing to come to your district and set up the same type of venue and meet with people about their insurance things that you have in your district. And they're there downstairs today from 10 to 2. So if you got your policy or somebody else's policy and you want to talk to them about explaining it to you, they'll do their best to explain it to you. And the main thing is if you need them to come to your house district, they'll be glad to. Just set up an appointment with them and they'll come to your house district and talk with all your constituents or most of your constituents about insurance. So thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Mr. Hickson. Mr. Duncan is recognized for a special introduction.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's my pleasure to introduce a very special person today, Ms. Brooke Wiley from Seneca High School. Ms. Wiley is passionate about turning kindness into action and making a real difference in our community. Through the High School America Anti-Bully Program, building respect and values for everyone. As a founder, also a founder of Hearts That Heal, Ms. Wiley spreads love and encouragement by donating art kits, coloring books, and music to children in the hospital, reminding them they are never alone. She's also built community blessing boxes at Mark's Methodist Church in Seneca, South Carolina, giving neighbors a simple way to give donations. Ms. Wiley proudly serves with organizations like the Golden Corner Food Bank, Ronald McDonald House, and Feed 5000, while also supporting special needs students and the Special Olympics at Seneca High School. She's a leader in student government, and I really hope she's not coming after my job. Nobody laughed at that? Okay, man, that was pretty good. All right. She's in the National Honor Society, the Beta Club, and a varsity cheerleader, all state. Pretty awesome. Okay. Miss Wiley Honored is also Miss South Carolina High School, and she will be representing South Carolina at Nationals in Arkansas coming up. Thank you very much. Everybody give her a hand, please.
Congratulations, Brooke. We're very proud of you. Thank you for what you're doing, and good luck in Arkansas. All right, Ms. Edgerton is recognized. Ms. Erickson, before we get started, is your group here? Okay. All right, Ms. Edgerton, you're recognized.
Ms. Erickson, I'm not sure if you're going to be recognizing the homeschoolers or not. Okay. So I wanted to say a recognition to the South Carolina Home Educating Association. They have a table at the bottom of the south stairs where they're giving out homemade cookies and water, so go get one. If you didn't know, I am a homeschool mom of 21 years. I have my last student graduating. I've graduated 4, or will have graduated 4 at the end of 2026. I'm proud of that. I have 3 years public education as well. So if you don't know, homeschooling has grown by 37% in the state of South Carolina, and they are a vital part of what we do to educate our young people. So please go down and make them feel welcome. They're floating around the State House in the Black Building, and they're very polite and well-mannered. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Edgerton. All right, that's all the introductions that we have. So we now are on the calendar. All right, Clerk will read.
Invitations for the month of April.
Representative Hewitt moves to accept the invitations. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Invitations are accepted. Clerk will read.
Committee reports. Judiciary favorable to Amendment 3034, Collins.
Committee report.
Committee report. Judiciary favorable with Amendment 4292.
Committee report.
Judiciary also reports favorably with amendment House Bill 4764.
Committee report.
Judiciary favorable with amendment Travis Moore 4804.
Committee report.
We have a committee report. Judiciary again favorable with amendment 4591 Guppy.
Committee report.
As well as 5075 Moore.
Committee report.
And 3013. You all right, Libby?
Committee report.
Okay. And 4270 Schuessler.
Committee report.
Education favorable as is 4761 Ms. Erickson and many others.
Committee report.
We have a committee report, Education Public Works favorable with amendment 3197 Erickson.
Committee report.
Just put them on the bottom. We have Education Committee report favorable with amendment 3873 Erickson.
Committee report.
Thank you. Education Public Works Mitchell 5168.
Committee report.
A new introduction by Ms. Dillard, road taxes.
Refer to the Ways and Means Committee.
We have Education Public Works Committee report favorable to Amendment 4610. J. Moore.
Committee report.
Colonel Ligon and others recognizing Rock Hill Girls Wrestlers.
Adopted.
Representative Cox, individuals and families living with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis.
Mr. Cox requests unanimous consent to add the roll of the House. Is there an objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Leonidas, Stavronakis, and Wetmore, heart disease.
Mr. Stavronakis requests unanimous consent to add the roll of the House. Is there an objection? Hearing none, adopted.
McCravey, celebrating Greenwood Railroad.
Adopted.
Representative Williams, celebrating Darlington Country Club.
Mr. Williams requests unanimous consent to add the roll of the House. Is there an objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Representative Scott, celebrating the life of Willie Mae Capers Reams.
Scott requests unanimous consent to add the roll of the House. Is there an objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Merle Smith, sorrow for the passing of Anthony Tony E. Harris.
Mr. Weeks requests unanimous consent to add the roll of the House. Is there an objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Merle Smith, profound sorrow for the passing of Madhusan Sakranale Srivastava.
Mr. Weeks requests unanimous consent to add the roll of the House. Is there an objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Mr. Harris, honoring Sienna Heiselman.
Mr. Harris requests unanimous consent to add the roll of the House. Is there an objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Mr. McCabe, honoring Pillion Middle School.
Mr. McCabe requests unanimous consent to add the roll of the House. Is there an objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Mr. Rivers, recognizing Patricia C. Grant. Are you all right? Are you good?
Mr. Rivers requests unanimous consent to add the roll of the House. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Taylor, Clive, and others, honoring Lynn West.
Mr. Taylor requests unanimous consent to add the roll of the House. Is there an objection? Hearing none, adopted. No roll, I'm sorry. Adopted.
Mr. Garvin, Westwood High School.
Mr. Garvin requests unanimous consent to add the roll of the House. Is there an objection? Hearing none, adopted.
As well as honoring Blythewood High School girls basketball.
Mr. Garvin again requests unanimous consent. Is there an objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Taylor, Clive, and others, USC Aiken.
Adopted.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 729, Senator Graham, DOT name a junction.
Refer to the Invitations Committee.
Senate 730, DOT naming an intersection in Chiraw.
Refer to the Invitations Committee.
Senate 1040, Senator Jackson, naming a portion of Interstate 77.
Refer to the Invitations Committee.
Senate 1056, Young and many others recognizing South Carolina veterans.
Adopted.
Senator Gambrell, 1058, congratulating Angela Brown.
Adopted.
New introduction, Brewer, Community Choice Act.
Refer to the LCI Committee.
As well as a new bill, South Carolina Retail Choice Act.
Refer to the LCI Committee.
Brewer, eligible customers purchasing electricity.
Refer to the LCI Committee.
Mark Smith, Sessions, defining necessary terms for civil actions and lawsuits.
Refer to the Judiciary Committee.
Oremus Cromer, digital devices, students, kindergarten.
Refer to the Education Committee.
Frank McCravey, imposition of user fee on gasoline.
Refer to the Ways and Means Committee.
Sessions and many others, liability, selling defective products.
Refer to the Judiciary Committee.
Haddon, new bill, appraisal of property tax.
Refer to the Judiciary Committee.
Bamberg, Child Financial Assistance Act.
Refer to the Judiciary Committee.
White. Voters in partisan primaries.
Refer to the Judiciary Committee.
Senate 808 is a Senate introduction pertaining to illegal acts during states of emergency.
Refer to the Judiciary Committee.
Senate 823, Reichenbach, Family Courts.
Refer to the Judiciary Committee.
Senate 922, Massey, filling vacancies when the Senate is not in session.
Refer to the Judiciary Committee. All right. Having read all the bills, that brings us to page 6 of the calendar, third reading, statewide uncontested bills. Clerk will read.
3874, Johnson. LCI favorable to adopted amendment.
Pending question is adoption of 3874 for third reading. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. The bill receives third reading. That brings us to bottom of page 6, House Bill 4662. Clerk will read.
4662, Wooten and others. LCI favorable, adopted amendment. Favorable as is, rather.
Pending question is third reading of House Bill 4662. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Bill receives third reading. That brings us to page 7, House Bill 5113. Clerk will read.
5113 is Representative Brewer's bill that passed the LCI favorably with adopted amendment. You all right?
Pending question is third reading of 5113. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Bill receives third reading. That brings us to bottom of page 7, 4544. Clerk will read.
4544 is a bill by Mr. Jordan, Judiciary favorable, adopted amendment.
Pending question is third reading of House Bill 4544. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Bill receives third reading. That brings us to to page 8, House Bill 4670. Clerk will read.
4670, Weston Newton, adopted amendment, favorable Judiciary.
Pending question is second reading of House Bill 4670. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Bill receives third reading. That brings us to second reading statewide uncontested bills on page 8, Senate Bill 694. Clerk will read.
694, Aiken, favorable. We have amendment number 1, Hickson, Taylor, Oremus, Harts, and Clyburn.
All right, Mr. Hickson, you're recognized to explain amendment number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 694. This bill was originally local legislation dealing with Aiken County. The Senate changed a few things, but we want to take it back to the original intent of the bill. We need this in Aiken County in our elections office, and this amendment will be the bill.
All right, pending question is adoption of amendment number 1. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Amendment number 1 is adopted. Have you explained the bill? Do you need to speak? Explain the bill. So the amendment becomes a bill. So the pending question is second reading of Senate Bill 694. Roll call is required in order. Voting on the board. Members, if y'all listen up, I got an important announcement. I just want everyone to know. Members, the clerk is not here today, and I want everyone to understand why he's not here. He had to go with his mother to the hospital, rush her to the hospital this morning, and so he asked for everyone to keep her in your prayers. So if everyone would stand and have a moment of silence and pray for our clerk's mother as she is in the hospital. Please bow your heads. Amen. Thank you. All right. Any objection, cutting roll call short? Yeah. All right. Any objection now? Hearing none, polls closed. Clerk will tabulate. By a vote of 105 to 1, bill receives second reading. That brings us to the bottom of page. All right, Mr. Hickson requests unanimous consent for the bill to receive third reading on Friday. Is there an objection? Hearing none, adopted, so ordered. All right, that brings us to House Bill 5284. Clerk will read.
By Monsieur Gannon, and this is a Abbeville delegation, and there's no amendments.
All right, Mr. Gagnon, Abbeville, y'all good? All right, pending question, the second reading of House Bill 5284, local Abbeville bill. Roll call is required in order. Voting on the board. All right, have all members voted? All right, it's a local bill, so. All right, have all members voted? Any objection, cut roll call short? Hearing none, polls closed. Clerk will tabulate by a vote of 105 to 0. House Bill 5284 receives second reading. Mr. Gagnon requests unanimous consent for the bill to receive third reading tomorrow. Is there an objection? Hearing none, so ordered. All right, that brings us to Senate Bill 449. Clerk will read.
449, 3M, favorable. Amendment number 1 is the committee report, 3M.
All right, Mr. Sessions is recognized to explain the committee amendment. Mr. Sessions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning. This is a Senate bill that is regarding collaborative practice agreements. It allows your physician, your pharmacist to work together to better take care of you as a patient. Now let me explain the committee amendment. This amendment allows pharmacists to perform simple federally approved lab tests called CLIA wave tests. And if the tests come back positive, they provide treatment for that illness, sort of like a COVID test. In doing so, it requires collaborative and identical protocols to be authorized by the Board of Pharmacy and the Board of Medical Examiners. Move for passage.
Seeing no questions, the pending question is adoption of amendment number 1. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Amendment number 1 is adopted. You need to explain the bill, or the amendment become the bill?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill authorized, like I said, pharmacists and physicians to enter into a collaborative practice agreements. It sets out a plan to provide evidence-based medication management services and other related patient care services that support the treatment goals established by the leading physician. It's not limited to monitoring, education, and assessments for specifically identified patients delegated to the pharmacist by the physician responsible. It requires that they share access to the same medical records, and it directs the Board of Medical Examiners and the Board of Pharmacy to promulgate regulations governing the use of such agreements and prohibits implementation of collaborative practice agreements until those regulations are effective.
All right, seeing no questions, pending question is second reading of Senate Bill 449 as amended. Roll call is required in order. Voting on the board. Have all members voted? Any objection, cutting roll call short? Hearing none, polls closed. Clerk tabulate by a vote of 108 to 0. Senate Bill 449 as amended receives second reading. Mr. Sessions requests unanimous consent for the bill to receive third reading tomorrow. Is there an objection? Hearing none, so ordered. That brings us to Senate Bill 146. Clerk will read.
146 is a bill that passed 3M favorably with an amendment, which is the committee report number 1.
Mr. Sessions is recognized to explain the amendment. Mr. Sessions.
Good morning, folks. This one's an important bill regarding long-term care facilities. This was our colleague, Senator Roger Nutt's last piece of legislation. And this bill allows residents of long-term care facilities to choose up to 3 specific people who are allowed to visit the resident during a declared emergency or public health crisis. And only 1 visitor per resident will be allowed to visit at a time during regular visiting hours. Now let me go to the amendment. This amendment just excludes clergy and other spiritual leaders in that number of 3. So move for passage on the amendment.
Ms. Cromer has a question. Ms. Cromer.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So it says, you mentioned during regular visiting hours. Is that requiring them the facility to keep their current visiting hours in place, or can they just say you can have visitors 1 day a week or once a month for an hour?
Yeah, this doesn't affect this doesn't change any of the management of the facility at all. Did that answer your question?
So they could still change their visiting hours to say once a month for an hour, or are they required to keep their current visiting hours? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, the bill doesn't stipulate any management of the facility at all. This more pertains to the visitor list that can visit a loved one during a declared state of emergency or public health crisis.
But if the healthcare facility could still just say no visiting hours, and then no one could visit.
This bill does not speak to that.
Thank you.
All right, pending question is adoption of amendment number 1. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Mr. Sessions is recognized to explain the bill.
No, sir. Sir.
Again, this just ensures residents can designate up to 3 visitors.
Hold on a second. The clerk's telling me there's another amendment.
Ms. Edgerton.
Clerk will read.
Yes, sir. Ms. Edgerton has number 2. Ms. Edgerton.
Ms. Edgerton is recognized for amendment number 2. Ms. Edgerton.
Thank you, Speaker and Chairman Sessions, Chair Lady Davis. This amendment seeks to name this bill the Roger A. Nutt Act in his honor. This was, like Mr. Sessions said, his very last piece of legislation, and I move for passage.
All right, pending question is adoption of amendment number 2. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Amendment number 2 is adopted. Now, that brings us to the bill as amended. Mr. Sessions is recognized to explain the bill. Mr. Sessions.
I think that says it. I think we need to move for passage.
All right. Seeing no questions, Mr. Govan's got a question. Mr. Govan, you recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to be just clear on this in terms of the intent of this bill. And just for a hypothetical situation, we just went through COVID a few years back, and as a result of that, in a lot of the situations, because of the disease, the dangers of it, families were not allowed in to see their loved ones, etc. Will this bill, if we face another crisis and it's in the overall public interest, would this limit or add to the possibility of exposure in case we deal with a pathogen that we're not familiar with, like it was during COVID?
Yeah, this bill would allow that if you have a loved one in a long-term care facility during a public health crisis, it would allow you to stipulate 3 family members and a clergy member per the amendment to come say their goodbyes before.
All right, pending question is adoption, a second reading of House Senate Bill 146 as amended. Roll call is required in order. Voting on the board. All right, all members voted. All members voted. Any objection, cutting roll call short? Hearing none, polls closed. Clerk will tabulate by a vote of 110 to 0. Senate Bill 146 received second reading. Mr. Sessions requests unanimous consent to give the bill third reading tomorrow. Is there an objection? Hearing none, so ordered. All right, that brings us to the page 10, 5164. Clerk will read.
The next bill is 5164, Hewitt, 3M, favorable. Amendment number 1 is the committee report.
All right, Mr. Sessions is recognized to explain the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This bill establishes a limited exception to fire and building codes allowing hospitals to place patient beds in hallways, corridors, or other means of egress during a justified emergency. What this amendment does is it clarifies that a designated member of the emergency department leadership team would make that determination to authorize hallway beds during that justified emergency.
All right, seeing no questions, this pending question is adoption. All right, Mr. Williams, recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to be clear on who give that authorization. You mentioned it, but who give the authorization to have those beds in the middle of the hallway? Is it someone from that facility, or is it someone from the Emergency Management Center?
This is someone in the facility.
Okay, someone from the center.
Yes, that's right, who's experiencing that health emergency, large intake of victims coming into the emergency department.
Okay, thank you.
All right, seeing no further questions, pending questions, adoption of amendment number 1. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Amendment number 1 is adopted. Do you need to explain the bill, Mr. Sessions? Or amendment's a bill? Amendment becomes a bill. So the pending question is a second reading of House Bill 5164 as amended. Roll call is required in order. Voting on the board. All right, have all members voted? All members voted. Any objection, cutting roll call short? Hearing none, polls closed. Clerk will tabulate by a vote of 110 to 0. House Bill 5164 receives second reading. That brings us to House Bill 4042. Clerk will read.
House Bill 4042 is Kilmartin, 3M favorable, with amendment number 1, which is the committee report.
All right, Mr. Wendell Jones requests debate. All right, Mr. Bamberg, Mr. Kirby, Mr. Reese, Ms. Waters, Mr. Smith, Ms. Cobb Hunter, Ms. Henderson Myers, Mr. Hart, Mr. Hosey, Mr. Williams, Mr. Luck, Mr. King, Mr. Jermaine Johnson, Hamilton, Grant. I think we got enough. Thank you, guys. I think that'll carry us through. All right, that brings us to House Bill 4799.
4799, Lawson. 3M, favorable with amendment number 1. Amendment number 1.
All right, Mr. Brandon Cox is recognized to explain amendment number 1.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment clarifies that veteran homes are included in CON exemptions. Certificate of need exemptions, just veteran homes. It cleans up the language. It was veteran nursing homes, but we call it veteran homes. So it's just making it veteran homes. That's all.
All right. Pending question is adoption of amendment number 1. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Yeah, you need to explain the bill, or is that amendment explain the bill?
Mr. Speaker, that amendment explains the
bill.
bill.
All right, so the amendment explains the bill. The pending question is adoption of House Bill 4799 as amended. Roll call is required in order. Voting on the board. All right, have all members voted? Any objection, cut roll call short? Hearing none, polls closed. Clerk tabulate by a vote of 105 to 0. House Bill 4799 receives second reading. Mr. Brandon Cox requests unanimous consent for the bill to receive third reading tomorrow. Is there objection? Hearing none, so ordered. So that brings us to House Bill 4688. Clerk read.
4688, Wooten. This bill passed Education Committee in its original state, but Wooten and Rutherford have amendment number 1.
All right. Mr. Hartnett is recognized to explain amendment number 1. Mr. Hartnett.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, what we have before us right now is it's kind of a cleanup bill, 4688. What we're doing is we're adding a section to a bill 3292, which we passed last section, is the golf cart bill. This is one sentence that we're adding clarification to the golf cart section that was amended. The bill simply clarifies that seatbelt requirement for those 12 and younger does not apply to golf carts operated on a golf course. This bill does not change anything else about existing law beyond clarifying that seatbelts are not required on golf carts operating on golf courses. The reason for this bill is we've had several golf courses from across the state call us. They have some areas between the holes where they have to go out on a public road in a neighborhood for a short span of time. In that short drive, they would be subject to penalties and fines if they didn't have if they did not have the seatbelt on. This bill would just clean that up and allow them to cross between the holes and not have to wear the seatbelt while playing golf. And that is, I'm happy to take any questions.
Seeing no further question, Mr. Williams has a question. Mr. Williams, recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm trying to understand. You're saying that you're going to do away with the seat belts for kids
No, sir, Mr. Williams. That does not change anything about golf carts or low-speed vehicles or the seatbelt requirements for them now as they are being used on public roads. This applies solely to golf courses while you are in the act of playing golf. That you don't have to wear your seatbelt. It would be a substantial cost to golf course owners to retrofit all the courses, and there's only some areas in the state where they have to make short jaunts or drives on a public road to get to another hole. So they're asking just for clarification on that and to be exempt from seatbelts while in the act of playing golf.
And this apply for passengers under 12 years old?
Passengers 12 and under.
12 and under. Okay, thank you.
All right, pending question is adoption of amendment number 1. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Amendment number 1 is adopted. That brings us to the next amendment. Clerk will read. Oh, no more amendments. Mr. Wooten, or does someone, you going to explain the bill? Mr. Hartnett. All right. Mr. Wooten's recognized to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This amendment, as you know, if you've been to a Carolina game or a football game, you'll see folks on golf carts providing rides and the things that happen with that. I think some local legislation had been passed before, and other folks couldn't do the same thing across the state. So this amendment just says that if you are acting, or you can read the amendment that says a golf cart can be operated along a primary highway, secondary street, or a road within a half-mile radius of a Division I athletic event, and the same parameters are there, 3 hours before and 1 hour after. So if you're a Division I athletic event, Mr. Rutherford and I reached out on that. So
there's an amendment on the desk, excuse me, that's just been tendered.
Hey, Mr. Wooten, this interrupts your wonderful explanation of the bill. We have an amendment on the desk, so amendment number 2
is by Wooten and
by
Rutherford.
Mr. Wooten. So, Mr. Wooten, you care to explain amendment number 2?
All right, so we got the golf cart back on the course. Here we go. So all this would do is extend it to an arena or coliseum that holds at least a capacity of 19,000 individuals as well. So it's Division I athletic events or large arenas, and we only have a couple of those in the state. And that's all this amendment does, Mr. Speaker.
All right, seeing no questions, pending questions, adoption of amendment number 2. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. Amendment number 2 is adopted. Having explained the bill through the amendments, pending question is second reading of House Bill 4688 as amended. Roll call is required in order. Voting on the board. Have all members voted? Have all members voted now? Any objection, cutting roll call short? Any objection, cutting roll call short? Hearing none, polls closed. Clerk will tabulate. By a vote of 109 to 0, House Bill 4688 as amended received second reading. Brings us to page 11. House Bill 5131. Clerk will read.
5131 is Mr. Hartnett, Education Public Works, favorable as is.
All right, Mr. Hartnett is recognized to explain the bill. Mr. Hartnett.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen of the House, what we have before us now is H 5131. This is a bill that will add tribal government, TG, to the list of entities that may receive a permanent license plate from SCDMV. We were approached by the Catawba, which is our state, which is a recognized tribal government here in the state. As our municipalities have MG or municipal government or CG on their license plates to distinguish the government vehicles, the Catawba Nation has asked that we please give them a TG designation only on this will be on their official vehicles. TG will stand for tribal government, and this is for the Catawba. Mr. Speaker, I move for passage.
All right, before that, Mr. Hartnett, you you asked unanimous consent to give 4688 third reading, didn't you? And so any objection to that? Hearing none, so ordered. And then now pending question is second reading of House Bill 5131. Roll call is required in order. Voting on the board. All right, have all members voted? Any objection, cutting roll call short? Any objection? Hearing none, polls closed. Clerk will tabulate. By a vote of 107 to 0, House Bill 5131 received second reading. The time in the uncontested period has expired. Oh. Time has expired in the uncontested period. Mr. Forrest moves to recur the morning hour. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. We have recurred the morning hour, so we're back on the calendar. Mr. Hartnett requests unanimous consent to give House Bill 5131 third reading. Is there objection? Hearing none, so ordered. That brings us, do we have anything to read, Clerk?
Yes, sir, we have one thing. It's a new introduction.
All right. Clerk will read.
New introduction by Representative McCabe dealing with standards affirming and protecting the rights of parents and guardians.
Referred to the 3M committee.
As well as a House resolution recognizing Dick Hawkins.
Mr. McCabe requests unanimous consent to add the roll of the House. Is there objection? Hearing none, adopted. Nothing further to read. That brings us to page 11 of the calendar, House Bill 4736. Clerk will read.
4736 McGinnis. Education favorable as is.
Mr. McGinnis is recognized to explain the bill. Mr. McGinnis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 4736 deals with the Commission on Higher Education and the people who are appointed to their board. Right now, there's no requirement for any type of education. This bill did receive unanimous support in committee. The bill will require all newly appointed commissioners to participate in a board orientation program at least once during their first year of service, and they must complete a minimum of 6 hours of training within 12 months of their appointment. Of course, the Commission on Higher Education is responsible for distributing lottery money for scholarships and also reviewing college courses and a lot of other things related to our universities, and I think that having a little education before you take on that position is a good thing, and I would move for passage.
All right, pending question is second reading of House Bill 4736. Roll call is required in order. Voting on the board. All right, have all members voted? Any objection, cutting roll call short? Hearing none, polls closed. Clerk will tabulate by a vote of 108 to 1. House Bill 4736 receives second reading. Mr. McGinnis requests unanimous consent for the bill to receive third reading tomorrow. Is there an objection? Hearing none, so ordered. That brings us to House Bill, page 11, House Bill 4737. At the bottom, clerk will read.
4737 McGinnis. Education Committee has amendment number 1, which is the committee report.
Mr. McGinnis is recognized to explain the amendment. Mr. McGinnis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is similar to the previous bill. This is requiring education for new trustees on our college boards of trustees. There is an amendment on this bill. It was adopted by the committee, and the amendment does two things. It adds fiduciary responsibilities of the board to the required training and notes that the list that follows it is not exclusive, and it strikes the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges, or SACS, from the accreditation requirements, as there are other national accreditors who could potentially, in the near future, be accrediting some of our colleges. And that is the amendment.
Ms. Cobb-Hunter is recognized for a question. Ms. Cobb-Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. McGinnis, let me ask you, I'm all for the fiduciary responsibility and all of that, but why are we politicizing this by striking SACS for, and as I heard your explanation, the group that y'all are talking about, you said something about potential in the future. So the organization, tell me the rationale for deleting SACS from this bill.
There is another accrediting agency, as you're aware of. I think it's a consortium between several universities in the South, including the University of South Carolina, that could come online. If that becomes an accrediting agency, we just don't want to limit it to if your school is not accredited by SACS. So if in the future, maybe the University of South Carolina, maybe Clemson, maybe Winthrop, maybe South Carolina State go with a different accreditor, we just want to be sure that regardless of who's the accrediting body, the trustees of the colleges are receiving some type of education before taking their positions.
And I can appreciate that. What I'm having trouble understanding is the logic in deleting SACS as the only currently existing accrediting agency in lieu of a group of Southern conservative states saying, SACS, y'all are way too whatever description is. I don't understand why we are deleting an existing accrediting agency that has decades of experience. And I understand that there's an element in your caucus that believes whatever it is they believe about SACS, but it just does not make sense to me, or it does not seem to be good stewards as far as our higher ed institutions are concerned for us to eliminate an existing agency that has a documented track record in lieu of some kind of Southern conservative group that all these states now want to form because they're mad at SACS.
Representative, I appreciate your concern, but I can tell you that we're not deleting, we're just saying, and we're opening it up so if a school is accredited, if the school is accredited, the trustees receive the training.
So you're saying you're not deleting it, so what does this mean, the red and the line through it? Is that not a deletion?
It's just opening it up to other accreditors. It's not deleting SACS. We definitely want all schools that are accredited by SACS to receive the training, just want any accredited school. My intent here is not political in this, and it's not political with this. My only intent is that an accredited school and their boards of trustees must have their boards of trustees must receive the training.
And I agree with you 100%, but what I need you to explain to me, because this is for my own benefit, because perhaps I'm looking at the red and the line through it, and I'm seeing that as a deletion, but apparently there is a body of thought that does not mean it's being deleted.
Well, SACS is the only accreditor right now. We're saying any accredited school must go, their trustees must have this training. It's not deleting SACS, it's just saying any accredited school their trustees must go through the training.
Hold on a second,
we're not
Mr.
mentioning
Mr.
it by name.
Mr. McGinnis, stop, suspend for a second. Mr. King requests debate. Mr. Govan requests debate. Mr. Weeks, Ms. Dillard, Mr. Wendell Jones, Mr. Jermaine Johnson, Mr. Hart, Mr. Gilliard, Ms. Waters, Mr. Rivers. Going too fast. All right, Mr. Anderson, I think that holds it. All right, that bill moves to the contested calendar. Next bill is House Bill 4738. Clerk will read.
4738, Ms. Erickson. Mr. McGinnis, education, favorable with amendment number 1, which is the committee report.
All right, hold on. The body will stand at ease for a second. All right, Mr. McGinnis is recognized to explain amendment number 1. Mr. McGinnis.
Okay, this is a CHE cleanup bill, and this bill did receive unanimous support from our committee. There is an amendment on the bill. This amendment came about because of tuition grants and CHE telling us that they both had issues with the way the South Carolina Children's Education Endowment was set up statutorily. The amendment seeks to clearly define the distribution methodology used by CHE for the need-based grant funds that are allocated through the Children's Educational Endowment, and further clarifies that the percentage of these funds meant to support the tuition grants program should exclusively apply to the endowment and not extend to the CHE's lottery-funded program allocations. This is just part of a cleanup that we're doing that is trying to streamline everything and take things that have not been followed or have not been are outdated now and get them off the books and just clean up CHE's mission. So I would move for passage of the amendment.
All right, pending questions, adoption of amendment number 1. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, the ayes have it. Amendment number 1 is adopted. Have you explained the bill with the amendment?
I believe so. Yes.
All right. Pending question is second reading of House Bill 4738 as amended. Roll call is required in order. Voting on the board. All right. Ms. Erickson is recognized for a quick introduction during roll call. Ms. Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we have AP Day, Advanced Placement Day, at the State House, and we have 2 students with us, Eric Coleman and Melinda Mansfield. And James Rowell. They are from Representative Anderson's district and Representative Kilmartin's district. These students are AP students attending in our schools. We have College Board and AP teachers and students here with us as well. I want to congratulate these students and the board for all their hard work in education and all their accomplishments. Thank you so much for being here.
Stand up. Welcome to the State House. Hope you enjoy your visit. All right. Polls closed. Time's expired. Polls closed. Clerk will tabulate by a vote of 109 to 0. House Bill 4738 received second reading. Mr. McGinnis requests unanimous consent for the bill to receive third reading tomorrow. Is there an objection? Hearing none, so ordered. That then brings us to House Bill 4738. Clerk will read.
4767. 4767. You got it. Contested.
So that concludes this uncontested calendar. So we're on withdrawals of objections or requests for debate. Any withdrawals of objections for request to debate? Hearing none, we are in unanimous consent period. Mr. Pace, for what purpose do you rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I ask unanimous consent to take H 5398, the motor vehicle user fee suspension, out of Ways and Means and put it onto the House calendar.
All right, Mr. What bill number is that?
5398.
All right, Mr. Pace requests to recall House Bill 5938 from the Ways and Means Committee, is that where it is? And put it on the calendar. Is there objection? Mr. Bannister objects. All right, Mr. Harris, for what purpose you rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to ask unanimous consent to take Bill 5183 out of Judiciary and place it on the House calendar, closing the primaries.
All right, Mr. Jordan objects. Mr. Kilmartin, for what purpose do you rise?
Yeah, I'd like to request unanimous consent to pull Senate Bill 1020 from the delegation, Lexington County, and place on the House calendar.
Mr. Grant objects. All right, any further? Mr. Smith?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd ask for unanimous consent on House Bill 5419, which is just simply the 30-day suspension of the gas tax.
Mr. Bannister objects.
Thank you.
All right. Any further unanimous consent request? Seeing none, that brings us to third reading statewide contested bills. House Bill 4767, Clerk will read.
House Bill 4767 is a bill by Ms. Davis. We passed 3M favorably.
Mr. Yao requests a roll call. Do non-members second the request? None do. So pending question is House Bill 4767. Roll calls required and ordered. Voting on the board. All right, time's expired, polls closed. Clerk will tabulate by a vote of 58 to 53. House Bill 4767 receives third reading. All right, Mr. Jordan is recognized for an ethics announcement. Members, you may want to listen up. Ignorance is not an excuse to ethics, so listen up.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, only 27 of you cannot listen to this, unfortunately. It is that time of the year. It is time for your statement of economic interest to be filed. They are due no later than this coming Monday. This would be the data from 2025. I know you're all familiar with this, have done this at least one time, but as of right this minute, I was told to come shame some of you that only 27 have filed. Again, Monday is the 30th. You do have a 5-day grace period on the other side of Monday, but help us out and get those SEIs filed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What are they due by noon, Mr. Jordan? So Monday at noon, file your SEIs. All right, members, Mr. Travis Moore, you have a memory of?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I respectfully request that when we adjourn today, we adjourn in memory of Mr. James Jim Thomas, Jr. He is actually, he died on February 28th of this year after a 2-year battle with blood cancer. He was originally a native of Columbia, South Carolina, attended the Baptist College of Charleston, now known as Charleston Southern. But he ended up making his adult life mostly 30 years in Spartanburg. It was his home, where he served as chairman of the Spartanburg Area Chamber of Commerce, the Downtown Rotary Club, the Palmetto Council of Boy Scouts of America. He had held all kinds of leadership positions, the United Way and other nonprofits in Spartanburg, and he was also himself an Eagle Scout. One of his most prized memories was being able to carry the Olympic torch in 1996 when the Olympics were in Atlanta. He is going to be missed by his wife and children, and we would just ask that we adjourn in his memory today, and I'd ask that these remarks be included in the journal.
All right, if you'll bring the remarks and hand them to the clerk, then they'll be printed in the journal. And Mr. Travis Moore moves, when the House adjourned today, that we adjourn in the memory of James Jim Thomas. So ordered. All right, got a couple subcommittee meetings and full committee meetings after session. Immediately upon adjournment of the House, Revenue Policy Legislative Subcommittee of the House Ways and Means Committee, it will meet in block room 521. Immediately upon adjournment of the House Property Tax Subcommittee of the House Ways and Means Committee will meet in block room 110. Full committee meeting of the House Legislative Ethics Committee in block 516. So are there any other announcements before we adjourn? And members, we're going to, just so everyone, for planning purposes, we have a lot of bills that were read across the desk, so we are going to deal with those bills next week. So I think I'll be prepared to be here on Tuesday and Wednesday, as well as Thursday. So if you want the furlough, if you don't, I hope you all enjoy your time in session, because I will be taking leave at that time. I've granted myself leave to go off to spring break with my family, so I hope y'all will, I will miss you dearly while I'm gone. But with that, Ms. Cobb-Hunter moves that the House do now adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed, ayes have it. The House stands adjourned to meet Tuesday at noon.
Of the first South Carolina State Constitution, which was signed on this date, March the 26th, 250 years ago in 1776. And in commemoration of this very important milestone, the South Carolina Department of Archives and History has the 1776 Constitution, along with 2 other important documents from our American Revolution, on display today in the State House lobby below us. And you are encouraged to stop by to view them and speak with the archive staff about those foundational documents. Dr. Emerson from the South Carolina Department of Archives is present with several folks from his staff, and some of you may have already done that, but I would encourage you, before you go home today, to take a moment and see those important documents that are in the lobby. Also, Mr. President, members of the Senate,
Senator Macon,
in recognition of our ongoing 250th anniversary observance of the Revolutionary War, I wanted to take just a couple of minutes to share with you some significant events that occurred in my district in Aiken County, which was not Aiken County in the 1770s and 1780s during the Revolutionary War, but it was part of the colony of South Carolina, and eventually the state of South Carolina. And I want to start briefly by mentioning to you that if you've heard of the Silver Bluff Audubon Sanctuary, I know that the senator from Charleston, Senator Campson, is familiar with that, and probably Senator Grooms. The Audubon Sanctuary property in Silver Bluff, which is between Jackson, South Carolina, and Beach Island, South Carolina, is a beautiful property, and on it are the remnants of the Galphin Trading Post, which was established in the early 1740s as a trading post for colonial South Carolina near the Savannah River. The post was founded and operated by Mr. George Galphin, who was an Irish-born Indian trader and who became one of the most influential figures on the southern colonial frontier after he founded the trading post. And the reason that he was an influential person in the colony at that time was that he maintained an extensive trade network with the Indians of that part of South Carolina, which included the Lower Creek, the Yuchi, and the Cherokee tribes, and he gained exceptional trust among those Native American Indians and their tribes and their leadership, in part through family ties and cultural connections. So when the American Revolution began, Mr. Galphin supported the Patriot cause. And in 1775, he was appointed the Commissioner of Indian Affairs for the Southern Department by the Continental Congress. And his primary task was to keep the Creek and Cherokee Indian nations neutral during our American Revolution, to prevent them from causing havoc on the frontier and aiding the British in the backcountry of South Carolina and other parts of the lower colonial states. This effort proved strategically crucial. Henry Laurens, famous South Carolinian for whom the county of Laurens is named, credited Galphin's diplomacy with helping secure South Carolina and Georgia for the Patriot cause by preventing a full-scale frontier war. Galphin died in December of 1780, and his home and the plantation house and the buildings around it became a fort before his death. And after his death, Tory Loyalist forces, those are non-patriot, the Tory forces occupied the site. And on May 21st, 1781, Patriot forces under Lieutenant Colonel Henry Lighthorse Harry Lee, the father of General Robert E. Lee, along with South Carolina militia, captured Fort Galphin from that Loyalist garrison. And this occurred 4 months after Cal Penns, senator from Cherokee, and 5 months before General Lord Cornwallis surrendered the British troops in Virginia at Yorktown. This victory resulted in the capture of more than 120 British and Loyalist troops, along with the capture of large quantities of supplies that were originally intended for the Native Americans in an effort to try to stir them up and create havoc on the frontier in South Carolina. This action helped further isolate British forces in Augusta, and Augusta fell weeks later. And so this is just a brief part of our history in South Carolina. It's unique to Aiken County, what is now Aiken County, and it tells you how on the backcountry we had patriots who helped secure our victory and independence from Great Britain. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator from Aiken. Appreciate that. Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, what purpose do you ask?
Unanimous consent that the words of the senator be printed in the journal.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request that the words of the senator from Aiken be placed in the journal? Hearing no objection, so ordered. Senator from Kershaw, what purpose do you ask?
Announcement.
You're recognized for announcement, sir. Senator from Kershaw.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, when I was leaving Camden this morning and I started to look at the trees and the flowers and the azaleas, something started blooming in Camden that I wanted to make sure you were aware of. This weekend is the Carolina Cup. And I believe in Camden we call this the rite of spring. And so when the flowers were blooming this morning, I knew that this was going to be a great weekend. And so I wanted to make sure that we were aware of how important this special event is at the Carolina Cup. It's more than a horse race. It's a celebration of tradition, family, friends, everything that makes South Carolina special. For generations, people have gathered in Camden for this event, early morning setting up tents, making sure the space is just right, making sure the outfit doesn't get ruined when you're setting up the spot. But the fellowship that we have all day, it reminds us of our deep roots of the equine culture and community that we take pride in. And this year, it even makes it more special that MUSC is a sponsor, but also wants to welcome you, senators, to come and experience the Carolina Cup. And so I invite you today to make sure that you're aware that you are welcome in Camden every day, but especially this Saturday as we celebrate the Carolina Cup. But beyond the celebration, the Carolina Cup highlights the importance of the equine industry, the heritage and the racers, the training, the breeding, tourism, the horse industry plays a meaningful role in South Carolina in our economy and our identity. That's why I'm hopeful very soon on this very floor we'll come together and support the Carolina Equine Advancement Act. This legislation is about strengthening and growing our community and growing our jobs, but preserving traditions, ensuring that events like the Carolina Cup continue to thrive for generations to come that we've been able to enjoy for years. So this weekend, I hope you will join me and MUSC at their tent in Camden. Again, thank you for the support. We look forward to celebrating with you this weekend. And again, we look forward to seeing you at the Carolina Cup. Mr. President, I'd ask for unanimous consent for immediate consideration of S-344, South Carolina Advancement Act.
Have a unanimous consent request? Objection. Numerous objections have been heard. Thank you, Senator from Kershaw. Senator from Horry, Senator Hembry, what purpose do you rise?
Purposes of an introduction.
You're recognized for introduction. Senator from Horry, Senator Hembry.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I see Senator from Newberry is here. Might want to join me at the podium if I know he may be otherwise engaged in some legislative matters, but if you can, we have with us today in the State House. Today is Advanced Placement, AP Day at the State House, and we have with us AP classes from Irmo High School, which I believe is in Senator from Newberry's district, and from Andrews High School. I note that Senator Sabb in the Ronnie Caucus is otherwise engaged. So, but we want to welcome them, and I just want to say to them, and I had a chance to talk with them a little bit earlier today, and I really, in my job with the Education Committee, I get a chance to talk to a lot of students, and it truly is one of the blessings of this job. And I encourage each one of my colleagues here, if you get a chance to talk to students, it will give you the inspiration and encouragement to walk another 100 miles here in this place. And because the future is very bright, we have some of the best and brightest with us today. And they had great questions, and we had great conversations. I about got one talked into being a lawyer, so we were making some progress. Anyway, if you...
Senator from Beaufort, what purpose you ask?
The Senator from Horry would yield for a couple of questions.
I'll be glad to yield.
Senator, yield for questions.
About a half a century ago, when I was in high school, I took AP English, and I took the exam, and I got a 5, and that was the highest you could get back then. Is it still a 1 to 5 scale, or Or is it now like with GPA where you can take you can get up to 5.7, or I'm not even sure what it means anymore, but are AP exams still graded on a 1 to 5 scale?
Number one, I'm not surprised that you took AP English. I did not. Number two, I'm not surprised you got a 5. I did not. And number three, yes, it's still on a 5 scale, and you would have been at the top of the class along with those that I got to talk with today.
I was able to place out of first year English at Furman because I got that. Is that still the case where
I think
if
that's
you score a 5, you can place out?
That's still the case. Yeah.
Well, I am glad some things stay the same. I mean, it's important to have these criteria memorialized so it makes sense over the years.
Have you stayed the same? No, that's it. So, if y'all would please stand, so the Senate can recognize you and say hello.
Welcome. We're delighted to have you with us, and congratulations. We're proud of you.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you, Senator from Horry. Are there any petitions, memorials, presentments of grand jury, or such like papers?
I have some communications this morning, Mr. President.
We do have communications. Ask them to please read.
Message from the governor, Mr. President, members of the Senate, I'm transmitting herewith the following appointments for confirmation. These appointments are made with advice and consent of the Senate and therefore submitted for your consideration. Statewide appointment, reappointment of member of the Board of Trustees for the Veterans Trust Fund of South Carolina at large, Mr. Sean T. Pinkston of Charleston.
Family and Veteran Services Committee will be referred.
Initial appointment to the Board of Trustees for the Veterans Trust Fund of South Carolina, Mr. Alan D. Dabney of Malden.
The nomination will be referred to Family and Veteran Services.
At-large appointment to the Veterans Trust Fund of South Carolina, Mr. Timothy J. McElhaney of Bishopville.
Appointment will be referred to Family and Veteran Services.
Initial appointment to the Veterans Trust Fund of South Carolina, the Honorable W. Ralph Garris of Great Falls.
The appointment will be referred to the Family and Veteran Services.
Reappointment of an at-large member to the Veterans Trust Fund of South Carolina, Dr. Ada D. Stewart of Columbia.
This appointment will also be referred to Family and Veteran Services.
Initial appointment of an at-large member to the Veterans Trust Fund of South Carolina, Mr. Timothy M. Conrad of Easley.
The appointment will be referred to Family and Veteran Services.
Initial appointment to the Veterans Trust Fund of South Carolina at large, Mr. Gerald D. Henderson, Jr.
Family and Veteran Services.
Statewide appointment to the Human Affairs Commission representing the 5th Congressional District. Initial appointment of Rosetta Ann Daniels.
This appointment has been referred to the Judiciary Committee. We have no further communications. Therefore, we are on the introduction of new bills and resolutions. Before I go there, Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, what purpose do you rise, sir?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request, sir.
Unanimous consent request to recall a road naming bill in Darlington County, Senate Bill 943, and have it placed on the calendar.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the Senator from Berkeley, Senator Grooms, to discharge S 943 from the Transportation Committee and placing it on the calendar? Hearing no objection, so ordered. Senator from Aiken, what purpose do you rise?
Unanimous consent request.
State your request.
House Resolution 5396 is a resolution that declares the month of April as the month of the military child. I ask unanimous consent that we'll recall it from the Family and Veteran Services Committee and ask for immediate consideration.
Is there objection to the unanimous consent request by the Senator from Aiken to discharge H 5396 from the Family and Veteran Services Committee and also give it immediate consideration? Is there objection to that? Hearing no objection, so ordered. So before us is the adoption of H 5396. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. H 5396 is adopted by the Senate. Reading clerk will read on Introduction of new bills and resolutions.
Introduction of a bill by Senator Johnson and others that amends the code so as to define terms related to the education, safety, and classroom authority to include relevant education classroom authority to provide the referral, removal, and administrative follow-up process and to provide protection for educators, administrators, and staff.
Senator from York, Senator